Hey gang, Bob White, Maumee River Fishing. It's getting to be that turn of the season where perch season turns back into walleye season, and then the winter's coming. So with the fall upon us, I'm going to show you how I make my walleye crawler harnesses with a stinger hook. Let me put this camera down here and we'll show you what we're going to do. Alright, so like I mentioned, it is the fall season and it may be loud out here because there's leaf blowers blowing around, so I may have to redo this audio, but we're going to go ahead and video it and get this content and see what we got. Alright, so what we're going to do is start out with a 15-pound or 20-pound in this case, a little bit heavier leader line. I'm just using mono. This is Andy's just because it's laying around. Now, the reason you want to use a little bit heavier leader line is it's going to be a little bit firmer and stiffer. You don't want it to be real flimsy. People think that walleye are line shy. They are not. So use something a little bit stiffer and you will get less twist, less tangle, and less tie up in knots and less headaches. So again, we've got now just about a 3-foot, maybe 3.5-foot section of 20-pound monofilament. We are going to be using some Mustad #2 super slow death walleye hooks. These are the ones with the serious bend in them, as you can see. And again, a #2 size. And what we're going to do is we're going to snell this hook on approximately, I don't know, I'm going to say about a foot, give or take. 1 foot up the end of the 20-pound leader. Now, to snell it, what we're going to do is run it through the eyelet, the tag end that is, and we're going to go ahead and come down and make a loop. Now, that loop, we're going to hold in our left hand, pinch it real quick with our right, come over the top here, hold it, and now we're going to take the tag end line and we're going to do 7 wraps around the eyelet. So again, grab it down here with your 2 fingers, come back, grab it. That's 1. That's 2. This one's getting in the way of seeing, so I'm going to try to tie that one off if I can. There we go. Alright, so that's 2 wraps. Got 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now, come over here with this hand, pinch everything. Come back. Now you've got your loop exposed. You've got your tag end exposed here. We're going to take that, run it right through that loop. We're going to pull it all the way down. All the way down. Alright, now that you got that, you've got it pinched off here, come back with this hand, do just that, pinch it. And this time we're going to grab this tag end that we fed through the eyelash first and pull it tight. What I like to do is situate my thumb such as this, so that way when I pull it tight, I can use my thumb as a kind of a leverage for that hook there, and boom, that there is a snelled knot. Hard to see, can't get it to focus like usual, but needless to say, now when you see that on there, you've got basically about, there's an extra foot maybe of tag end line. Again, we're just going to make sure that's all seated, which it is, nice and tight. And now we are going to show you how to make a stinger hook. Hang tight, we'll be right back. Alright guys, so we got our main hook snelled on already. We are now going to put the stinger hook on, and what I like to do is I like to start out with one of these little beads that you get from a bobber stop when you're buying those little, I guess I just call them rubber bobber stops, or even the line type bobber stops. Usually you get these little beads with them. That's all that is. So I'm not even sure the size, but I'll slide that up the tag end, slide it on. That's first. Then I'll start out with 1 small red bead. Slide that on, tag end. Let that go down to that hook. Followed with a white or clear, whatever you want to call that. I'd call it frosted, if anything. And another red. And the hooks that we're going to be using are Gamakatsu treble. It's a round bed size 8. That's it right there. Number 47106. That is again a size 8. And all we're going to do at this point is we're going to slide this hook on. I'm just going to do a fisherman's knot. But the key is you want this stinger hook to be roughly about, I'm going to say 1.5 inches to 2 inches, no more than that, below the bottom of the shank of the hook, or the bend of the hook. So again, that's about it right there. So we're just going to do a fisherman's knot here real quick, and we'll get this thing tied on, show you what it looks like as a whole. These Gami hooks are super sharp, guys, so it's one of the main reasons I use them. Occasionally you'll lose a bite on the main hook and pull it in too fast as you're reeling in. The fish comes off the main hook and you got that stinger there with that super sharp Gami. Bam! That's why they call them stingers. Stings that fish. Doesn't even know it's coming. Alright, so now we got that on there. We're going to go ahead and wet it real quick and pull that taut. It should be good to go. Alright, gang, so I got my stinger hook jig out just to show you guys the length of what I did here and how I did this. I'm going to pull this tight here, see if I can get that around there, and boom, there we go. Alright, so you can see that's 2.5 inches. I've got my stinger hook around the nail down at the bottom, and you can see exactly where the tip of that hook is, almost at exactly 2.5 inches up. So that's how she's going to be riding in the water, spinning. And give me a second here and we'll show you what we're going to do with clevises and with beads and with spinner blades. Hang tight. Alright guys, we're back. What we're going to do now is we're going to use some beads here, okay? Now, I just got this bead box here from Jan's Netcraft here in Maumee. These are just standard walleye beads. It's got a nice supply of all different colors. It might be about 10 bucks maybe, I don't know, somewhere around there. And what I like to do is I like to use these clevises that are the fast release and interchangeable, the plastic type. So you can pull your blades, your spinner blades off, depending on what you're finding might be hot for the day. Sun's out, generally you like those brighter colors. When the it's cloudy days, you might prefer something that's a little bit more subtle, you know, darker in color. So what I'm going to do, I guess, is I'm going to start out with a blade like that. Within that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and grab some beads that'll complement that. So we're going to start out first with a purple bead. Just feed that on the hook, or the tag end. And we're going to do a yellow, or chartreuse. Now let's do a black. This purple and black, while I tend to, I don't know what it is about them, they love it. Oh, get out of there, you. You can never get one of these. Why is that? You just got to get 20 of them at a time and throw them back. All right. Well, that's 2. That's why. Ha! They're stuck together. Okay, that summarizes that crazy thought. All right, so we're going to do a black, and we're going to follow that with one more purple, and then the clevis. Now, clevis is going to go down with the open side on the top, and once we slide her all down, this is what she looks like. Whoops, see, slid right out of my hand, guys. Almost hooked myself. There we go. And now, what we can do is tie on whatever your favorite method of tying on. I like just a simple swivel, and that way then I can clip on or clamp on whatever I want. Take this blade here, pop her in the crack, over the tongue, pull her down, and bam. That's what you got. Whoops, spin her over here if I can. Just don't want them in, mind. Here we go. That, boys and girls, is one good looking walleye harness with a blade and a stinger behind her. Alright, so the very last step of this is to just tie on a snap or snap swivel, depending on what you prefer. I have found these great little things called fast snaps, which come in all different sizes. They're kind of like paper clips, if anything else. And you're going to tie this on to your end, your tag end, all different sizes. This side is going to be the free-floating side. This side is going to be the stable side. And as you can see, what I'm going to do then is just slide that up over my swivel, and that way I can fastly attach and unattach this to my main line. So again, the 90-degree side, it's hard to see right now, guys, but that 90-degree side, that's the main side you're going to attach your line, and just a fisherman's knot, because the other one you'll slide down this end. This is your quick release end. So I'm going to cut that tag end off, and let me show you how I store them. I store them on a leader holder, and this is the one I prefer. It's just the Velcro one, and the reason I do is these fast snaps fit right over these things perfectly like that. And then I can just wrap it, and when I'm ready to go, I can unwrap it, take it off. If I need to change blades or any of that, I can quickly do that. But here we get to the first hook, and all I'm going to do is wrap it around. Since it's Velcro, no matter where it's at, this thing will grab in. Now I can take my stinger, take that around again, wherever that ends up. There's Velcro, that'll end up, and I like to try to get it so that I get at least 2 of those in, just for the pure sake that it holds a little better, and then come back and stretch out that main hook, and that's it. That's my leader holder right there. Again, you can see all the different colors, beads, different spinners, and again, the greatest part is they're individual. Plus, if I decide to run something like a weighted, inside here, I've got room for, what I like to use are these, it's kind of like an Erie, but doesn't have a hook on it. And I'll tie this in line with one of these first, just to get a little extra depth. So that's what it is in there. It's cool. Keep it all in there. And again, that's my leader holder. We'll go on and show you how to make stinger hooks too. So if you want to make leaders without the stinger hooks attached and attach them yourself to the hook, I'll show you how to do that here in just a second. Alright, just made this one up also. You guys can get a good idea on that one there. So alright guys, what I want to do now is I want to show you how to make a stinger hook. So, stinger hook, I'm going to use a little bit lighter, maybe a 15-pound test, and you don't need very much of this. Truthfully, when you're done, you'll be laughing. You'll use maybe 5 inches at the most, but start out with a foot or 2. What we're going to do is we're going to start out by grabbing a number 8 Gamakatsu treble hook. This is a 47106 model. You can get these online, or you can get these just about any tackle shop, and or jansnetcraft.com. Jan's Netcraft in person in Maumee is where I happen to get them. So all we're going to do real quick is tie this on with a fisherman's knot. You do what you got to do while I tie this on, and in turn we'll get her done. Wet your line, pull it tight, and there we go. We got a fisherman's knot with sloppy wet mess on it. And make sure, come back, tag it, cut your tag end off, because otherwise that will get in the way and will bind you up. So now we're going to come over here, and first of all, we've got a little jig, as you see. I thought I would do this without a jig and found it so much easier with the jig. Just take a board, a piece of wood, any kind, take 2 nails, cut the head off with some tin snips is all I used basically. And I did one at 3 inches and one at 2.5. That way I can have a trailer hook 2.5 inches back and one at 3 inches back, depending on what's biting or what's working. So what you're going to do is, first of all, let me pull this up. Let me push this down, actually. All right. So you're going to hook it around the nail with the head, with the hook you just fisherman knotted on. Then you're going to take your line, wrap it around this hook. I'm going to set this down, and then I'm going to start off with 3 beads. I like to do a red. You guys have seen my harnesses. You know what's coming next is the white or frosted. And then another red. Now, as far as the size of these beads, I can't even begin to guess. They're tiny. These are also beads that, again, I got at Jan's Net Craft, where they have a huge selection, but you could probably get them at Hobby Lobby or at fabric stores like Joann Fabrics or just about anywhere online. This one does not have a hole. I'm fighting with a bead that doesn't have a hole, wondering why my line won't go through it. Seen a lot of those lately. Must be the COVID. Nobody wants to work and put holes in beads. So again, we're going to wrap that all the way around, all the way down to the hook. Then, this is my trick. Some people like to do knots. Some people like to do, bobber stops. I like to do these little beads and use this as a lock for putting it on one of my main hooks. Now, the way this has to work is the hole that's in this bead has to be much smaller. It's hard to find that hole here. There it is. Must be much smaller than what the knot you're going to do, because that's going to hold it on. So what you're going to do is feed this bead through first, take it around the hook, or nail, excuse me. Once she's around that nail, you're going to come around and feed it back through the bead. It's going to slide on me, I know. Alright. And pull it tight. Oops, we just came off the hook nail. So make sure you're on the nail before you pull it tight. And when you pull that tight, you will see that bead start to seat right up on there. And now, there we go. See how that is? Now, this is the trick. You've got to have a small little stylist or something. In this case, a paper clip, because you got to seat that knot right up here on this bead. So let me take a knot, overhand knot, twist it, put the loop through, start pulling that tag end through. But before you tighten it, get this guy out. I like to put it in the middle. I'll take it, put this through the loop, put this through the other loop. Alright, pull her tight. Oh boy, that was horrible. I didn't realize my bead wasn't even tight. We'll do that again. And I'm going to double that knot up just to make it a little bit thicker so that that bead won't slide through her. But then I'm going to show you the secret sauce after everything's said and done. Oops. Alright, now back over here. Slide this one up and over. Slide that one off. And trim your tag end first. This is the secret sauce. You see that little tag end? I cut it purposely at about 1/4 inch. And the reason is, we want to come back with a lighter. And we want to make that nice and fat right to the knot. So there's that knot. I don't know if you can see her or not. Pun intended. Here we go. Look at that. Now, there ain't no way that bead is going to slip over that knot. No, it's impossible to see. Maybe if I put it on black background, there you go. You probably see better. There ain't no way. So now, all you'd want to do is take one of your slow dead hooks that are on your harness, like this one, and take your loop over and pull it tight. Once that pulls tight, now you've got your hook, you've got your stinger hook trailing, and bottom line, that is the way, guys, I make stinger hooks. Right there she is. Again, I use the yellow bead so I know where that bad boy's at all times. When you want to take it off, you just pull the bead. The bead itself will pull the bottom end of that out, back out. So pull the hook to tighten, the bead to loosen. And that's it. Maumee River fishing stinger hook. Thanks for watching. Good luck and good fishing.